We'll take a quick look at what is to come so far in Game Pass in July. PlayStation, they're making some good moves here when it comes to who can access their games. So we'll take a look at that. The Nintendo Switch 2 set some all-time records in terms of sales, that these are now been confirmed. Pricing is going to continue to fluctuate in subscription services. PlayStation has actually commented on that. Summer Games Fest has record viewership. Then we have some stories about The Witcher 4 and GameStop and potentially Red Dead Redemption 2 coming over to modern consoles. So before we do jump into it, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, hit the subscribe, share, like all of that great stuff helps grow this channel, helps get it out to more people and grow this community. So I would appreciate it. But for now, let's jump into it. So it's been a phenomenal year with Game Pass. We talk about this all the time just because we continuously are getting great games. Just had the Alters drop onto the service, which has gotten good reviews. And it will continue to be good throughout the rest of this year, especially now that we know what is going to be coming out. But July 2025, we have some more games that are coming into the service. And we already have kind of a quick look as to what we can expect here going forward, kicking off basically the second half of 2025. And it says here 4 games confirmed here for Xbox Game Pass. And you can see already June has been great. May, April, they were great months as well. And July is already starting off, from what we know, going to be also a spectacular month. And there's going to be way more games than this dropping into the service. So you got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 coming July 11th. I can't wait for that. I actually have the collector's edition with the skateboard coming because I got the first one. So I'm going to have to make some sort of display for both of those. Super excited about that. Wheel World, which I don't really know anything about, but if you take a quick look at the video here, you can see this is a biking game. And it probably is just one of those fun adventure style of biking games. They say race elite teams, trick out your bike, and perform the long overdue great shift ritual to save a universe on the brink. Actually sounds kind of cool. I'm not going to lie. May end up checking this one out. It's a bike racing game coming July 23rd. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. This one looks very cool. I think some people are so surprised this one's coming to Game Pass because I've seen always comments when they show these trailers off that people get excited that's dropping to Game Pass, but this was announced a while ago, I believe, coming to Game Pass, and it is a Souls-like action RPG in the land of Shu. So you can see it here. If you're a fan of these styles of games, you're definitely going to want to check this one out. This one I think is going to be pretty good, probably get some decent reviews, and one of those games that you'll see a lot of people showing how to get through the hard areas, and we'll see how hard it is comparatively to other Souls-like games, but that one is coming on July 24th. And then Grounded 2, which is another game coming from Obsidian. They announced this at the Xbox showcase. I was pretty shocked that they already are making a Grounded 2. They're putting it into early access here on July 29th. But Grounded is a phenomenal game. It may not be for everybody because of the aesthetic and the characters in the game and everything like that. But I played the first Grounded when it first dropped for a decent amount of time. I had a lot of fun. You could really see the concept they were going for here and that there was a lot of potential. And then that game took off. And now we're getting Grounded 2 here. They're doing the same thing, putting it in early access, and they're going to continue to improve upon it, obviously, until they get that full 1.0 release. So I'm going to check out Grounded 2 and see how it improves upon the first one. But this is just another game from Obsidian. And Obsidian has been just killing it, just continuously releasing games on a consistent basis. Obsidian kind of makes me remember and reminds people of what games used to be like, what studios used to be like, where they would continuously just release games. It didn't all have to be these just massive, budgeted, over-the-top games that took years and years and years to develop. They kind of remind me of that, and they've been just doing very good with continuous releases, all that have been reviewed and liked by a lot of people. So Grounded 2 coming July 29th in early access. I will check out that one and see what that one is all about. So already July, phenomenal. With just those 4 games, you're looking at a bunch of stuff to be able to play that I think will have a lot of players jumping into it, especially Tony Hawk when that one comes out. And then we still have to wait, obviously, for the announcements that they do give us when it comes to the Game Pass, bi-weekly Game Pass announcements. All right, let's talk PlayStation here a bit because they have done some good moves over the last week. And one of the things that finally is here, and it's a smart move. It's going to make them more money. It's going to get more people playing PlayStation, and it's just better for the consumers. Is they are removing PC region locks for Helldivers 2, The Last of Us Part 2, and other games out there. If you remember, one of the big controversies with Helldivers 2 is they released it where you did not need PSN to go in and play it, and then they later in added that requirement, which added in a region lock for a lot of countries who were already playing Helldivers 2, but then couldn't access it. Well, they're finally fixing that issue here going forward, and it just makes complete sense. It didn't make sense at the beginning why that was even there. I'm sure they learned their lesson here from Helldivers 2. We have this here, and they say that Sony appears to be removing regional restrictions on their Steam/PC games. God of War Ragnarok is removing it. The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, Spider-Man 2, and Helldivers 2. There was a lot of backlash back in January when they announced that it would scrap the mandatory PSN requirement for most of its PC games instead of offering players in-game items as an incentive to sign up to Sony's service. So that's what they said that they were going to do, but the backlash to the PSN inclusion in Helldivers 2 was such that Sony itself U-turned and removed the requirement, saying it was time, it was learning what's best for PC players. So yeah, I mean, to think that would ever go over with PC players, it was kind of funny, especially because the game had already come out and you didn't need that requirement. But this is great. This is good news. And hopefully now going forward with all of their PC releases, they don't even think about putting a PSN requirement, whether that is single player or multiplayer. Just no region lock requirement, because you're cutting out so many people that would end up playing the game. It's bad for business, and it just makes no sense for the consumer. Subscription prices. This is one of the downfalls of the subscription model. We saw this in TVs, movies with those subscriptions. They continuously go up. Spotify keeps going up. Xbox Game Pass has had a price raise. I think the value in Game Pass right now is phenomenal. The pricing of it is completely fine, but we're seeing rumors that they are going to raise the price of Xbox Game Pass again. PlayStation Plus has raised their prices, and they will probably end up raising their prices even more in the future. As they say, the PlayStation Plus price will continue to change to maximize profitability. This was a part of their gaming business presentation. Hideaki Nishino, Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO, gave insight into the future of PS Plus and how PlayStation is approaching the pricing model. And according to Sony, 38% of its PS Plus members are subscribed to the higher price extra and premium tiers, and that's an 8% increase compared to the fiscal year 2022 and a 3% jump compared to last year. And this still means that 62% of subscribers are still on the essential plan, and PlayStation says that more consumers signing up for the higher tiers shows the value of the service that it has to offer. And in terms of PS Plus pricing, Nishino has said it will continue to change to maximize profitability as they add more value for the service to players, saying PlayStation Plus is highly valued by our players and continues to drive engagement. And we're already seeing a trend towards the option of the higher tiers within the service, and evidenced by subscribers mix that they achieved in fiscal year 2024, where approximately 38% of players are now subscribed to PlayStation Plus Premium and Extra tiers. So this is just telling me that prices are going to increase, but PlayStation is going to try to find ways to put better, bigger games into the service, whether that is first party games that will be dropping in. I think that's probably going to be the case at some point, where more first party games are dropping in sooner. So at that point, then they're going to go ahead and increase the price of the subscription, or they're also going to be going out there and trying to get more third party deals. But this is one of the things with subscriptions. The prices are going to continue to fluctuate because these companies need to be able to always provide value so that there's always excitement for these services and that subscription numbers continuously go up. If there are times where nobody's talking about it, nobody really cares about them, then you'll see the subscription numbers drop, and then it just doesn't make any sense to continue with the service. So that's why prices are going to increase, but this will hopefully come with more games coming. But there is always the issue of people's time that I think they don't think about when they're making these calls, is that even if you have 10 great massive games dropping into the service a month, the likelihood that someone is going to be able to play the majority of those or even half of those is very low because of how big some of them are, the amount of time that you put into these styles of games. So that is the only other issue here when it comes to all of the great stuff coming over to the subscription services. We will see when there will be price raises, particularly with Xbox Game Pass, if that will happen anytime soon. But right now, Game Pass is phenomenal and the value is absolutely there. Now, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, it's been out for about a week now, and it's just destroyed all sales records. It is now setting the record here for a launch, an all-time launch in the United States, beating out the PlayStation 4. So here is what they say. The record previously held by the PS4 has been smashed by Nintendo's console, which sold 1.1 million Nintendo Switch units in the US during its first week on sale. And in the US, almost 80% of the players who purchased a Nintendo Switch 2 also purchased Mario Kart World, either as a standalone physical game or as a part of the hardware bundle. Now, to be fair, they are bundling. They specifically put out a console that had that in there for $30 cheaper than if you were to actually pick up the game physically. So they kind of forced that onto people, but Mario Kart World would have sold insanely well regardless of that happening. And it is a good game from all of Mario Kart that I have played. And they said, according to Circana data, the 3 best-selling physical games during Switch 2 launch have been Mario Kart World, Cyberpunk 2077, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, which is hilarious because this game has been out for a while and they're reselling it to people. I'm sure the people who bought Tears of the Kingdom, the Switch 2 edition, already own the first one. They're just double dipping here because of the upgrade in the frame rates, and it plays significantly better. Cyberpunk 2077 is the other launch game I bought. So I have Mario Kart and Cyberpunk, and I bought Cyberpunk 2077 because I want to see what they would be able to do with a game that seemingly is demanding on hardware on the Nintendo Switch 2. How would this underpowered console be able to run the game? And they optimize it very well. The game is enjoyable on the Switch 2. It looks good. It runs good. So I was very impressed by that. It gives me optimism for the future of other big AAA games landing onto the platform. So the Switch 2 killing it at launch. All of the complaints and outrage about the pricing that they came out with when they did announce the Nintendo Switch 2 didn't do much to stop the sales of this thing. The bigger question I have, though, going forward is that just all of the enthusiasts and the people that wanted to switch over right away? And will this continue now for years to come? Or will people start being priced out at this point if they haven't picked up yet a Nintendo Switch 2? Summer Games Fest is now basically the new E3. Viewership has been great on it, and it actually grew 89% and hit 50 million streams. This was the statistics that have been put out. They say data taken from stream charts and forwarded by Variety reveals the recent Summer Games Fest showcase was the most popular iteration ever. After 6 years of serving up some of the most anticipated trailers, they have now hit 50 million viewers worldwide. So this is what they had put out. The live show had over 50 million live streams with a peak concurrent audience of 3 million plus, up 89% year over year, according to Steam charts. Last year's show just wasn't great. This year's show was good. It wasn't the best ever Summer Games Fest, but it was a good show. Lots of games and content for people to play. And then, of course, they did end it off with a banger, which was Resident Evil 9 Requiem. So I'm not too shocked that this show had more viewers than last year and a significant amount of more viewers. All right, a couple of more things here. This is an interesting one, and this makes me happy that GameStop Canada got sold off, because I feel like GameStop in the US is just kind of going away very, very slowly. And some people are okay with that because they don't like GameStop. It has its issues, but still, physical video game stores going away to me is always kind of a sad thing. But it looks like they're not going away, but they may stop actually focusing on video games, which makes absolutely no sense for GameStop to stop focusing on video games. They say GameStop could pivot away from games to focus more on trading cards. And this is in their recent financial update. The CEO, Ryan Cohen, who everyone was so excited about when he took over, I don't see any real great stuff that he's done here for GameStop, stating that the company's future could be tied to trading cards, stressing that the recent growth of the trading card market could be a lucrative revenue path for GameStop to follow, potentially suggesting a pivot away from the ever-dying stream made up of physical game sales. Goes on here to say, it fits our trade-in model, it appeals to our core customer base, and is deeply embedded in physical retail. But the reality is, it's GameStop. The majority of people going to GameStop are going there to buy video games. And I think that they should expand out more into getting more used games, more retro games, things like that, and take advantage of that market, because that market has been going up and it has been booming. And at the same time, it seems like it's trying to chase a trend that by the time GameStop fully realizes pivoting over to trading cards, I could see trading cards not being as popular or not being as big as they are currently right now, because they got a huge boom. I mean, they've always been popular, but video games also got a huge boom over the last number of years, especially on the retro side of things. So I would love to see them go more into that. They do have GameStop Retro, but I'd love to see more of those games in store where people can go in there, compare, and trade in older titles. Right. And a couple more things are The Witcher 4. They're aiming here at 60 frames per second on consoles, which, from what we did see from that tech demo, I don't think it's going to look like that after aiming for 60 FPS on the PlayStation 5 and on the Xbox Series X, and definitely not on the Xbox Series S. They talked about doing this in an interview with Digital Foundry, where they said it will be making sure it doesn't make the same mistakes it did with Cyberpunk 2077 when it came to performance issues, and that they will be taking a console-first approach to ensure 60 FPS stability. And to do that, the graphics and the overall visual quality we saw from that tech demo, just it won't be that. It'll look good, but it will not be that. I can almost bet on that one there if they're aiming for 60 FPS stability. So I think they'll be able to do that on the X and the PS5, but when it comes to the S, the 60 FPS benchmark, they say, I will say that 60 FPS will definitely be extremely challenging on the Series S. Let's just say that this is something that we need to figure out. And that's not surprising. Will they be able to get a 60 FPS on the S with The Witcher 4, which I believe is going to be a next gen game, and that it's going to release on the PS6 and whatever comes next from Xbox, but then we'll also be releasing on the PS5 and the Series X. So it'll already be a cross-generational game. And then the Series S being even less powerful than the PS5 and the Series X will make that even harder to do. But if they released it at 30 frames per second and it ran stable there and it looked decent on the Series S, I think people would be okay with that overall, knowing the power differentiation between the Series S and then going all the way to whatever the next gen consoles. Red Dead Redemption 2 on the current generation consoles. People have been wanting a version of this for a while. It looks like we could be getting news about that this week, as the actor for John Marston teases exciting news for RDR2 fans. They say here, as Switch 2 rumors swirl. Rob Whitehoff, who played John Marston in both Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2, said during a live stream that he has exciting news, and he has inferred it being related to the Red Dead franchise, saying, I've got such exciting news, I can't share it with you right now, and it's absolutely killing me. Not as soon as tomorrow, but definitely before Friday. Oh my goodness, the news I have to share, and I won't be the only one sharing it. I cannot wait for you to see what is going on. I am so excited. I truly cannot think of anything else, especially playing this game. I can't think of anything else other than what I want to tell you so bad. And this is recent reports going around that it could come to the Nintendo Switch 2, suggesting news about the franchise is imminent. So I wouldn't be shocked if that happens, Nintendo Switch 2 version, and then a updated version for the current generation of consoles to bring it up to par. And I'm going to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.